Hello, fourth grade. How are my fantastic fourth graders? I hope you had a really good weekend. Today's Monday and I'm ready to get back to our reading on There's a Boy in the Girls' Bathroom. Last week we finished up chapter 8. I'm going to read a little bit of chapter 8 before we start in chapter 9 and try to read part of 10 as well. The last part of chapter 8, I hope you remember. The two girls laughed and they ran back to Colleen. Bradley slowly turned and looked at Jeff, amazed. Jeff sat with his head on the table and his arms over his head. "You went into the girls' bathroom?" Bradley asked. "So what?" said Jeff from under his elbow. "Carla says." "Me too," declared Bradley. "I go in there all the time. I like to make them scream." He smiled at Jeff. Chapter 9. "Bradley Chalkers, what are you doing out of class?" It was the teacher. Bradley didn't know her, but it seemed as though every teacher in the school knew him. "I got a hall pass," he told her. "Let me see it." He showed it to her. "Mrs. Ebel gave it to me. Go and ask her if you don't believe me." "Where are you going?" "Library," he said. "To get a book." "Okay, but make sure you go straight to the library. No detours, Bradley." He had lied. He wasn't even allowed to check books out of the library. The door to the counselor's office was open, so he walked right in. I'm here," he announced. "What do you want?" Carla smiled at him warmly. "Hello, Bradley," she said. "I'm Carla Davis. It's a pleasure to see you today." She held out her hand. "I've been looking forward to meeting you." He was amazed by how young and pretty she was. He had been expecting an ugly old hag. She had sky blue eyes and soft blonde hair. She wore a white shirt covered with different colored squiggly lines, like some kid had scribbled on it. But as he stared at the shirt, he realized that it was made to look that way on purpose. "Aren't you going to shake my hand?" she asked. "No, you're too ugly." He walked past her and sat down at the round table. She sat across from him. "I appreciate your coming to see me," she said. "I had to come. Mrs. Ebel made me." "Well, for whatever reason, I'm glad that you came." "Well, I meant to go to the library," he explained. I came here by accident." "Oh, I don't believe in accidents," said Carla. "You don't believe in accidents?" That was the craziest thing he had ever heard. She shook her head. "Well, what about when you spill your milk?" "Well, do you like milk?" asked Carla. "No, I hate it." "Well, so maybe you spill it on purpose," she said. "You just think it's an accident." She smiled. He stared angrily down at the table. He felt like he had been tricked. "I don't drink milk," he said. I drink coffee." He glanced around the room. It was full of all kinds of interesting looking objects. "This place is a mess," he said. "I know," Carla admitted. I like messy rooms. Clean rooms are boring and depressing. They remind me of hospitals." "Well, don't you get in trouble?" "Well, why should I?" He didn't know the answer to that, but he knew that if it were his room and it was this messy, he'd get in trouble. I didn't do anything wrong," he declared. "Well, nobody said that you did." "Well, then how come I have to be here?" "Well, I was hoping that you'd like it here," said Carla. "I was hoping that we could be friends. Do you think we can?" "No." "Well, why not?" "Because I don't like you." "Well, I like you," said Carla. "I can like you, can I? You don't have to like me." He started to kind of squirm in his seat. "I was also hoping that you'd be able to teach me some things," said Carla. "You're the teacher, not me." "So that doesn't matter. A teacher can often learn a lot more from a student than a student can learn from a teacher." "Oh, I've taught Mrs. Ebel a lot," Bradley agreed. Today I taught her geography." "Well, what do you want to teach me?" Carla asked. "Well, what do you want to know?" "You tell me," said Carla. "What's the most important thing that you can teach me?" Bradley tried to think of something he knew. The elephant's the biggest animal in the world," he said, "but it's afraid of mice." "Well, I wonder why that is," said Carla. "Because," said Bradley, if a mouse ran up an elephant's trunk, it would get stuck and then the elephant would probably wouldn't be able to breathe and so it would die. That's how most elephants die." Oh, I see, said Carla. Thank you for sharing that with me. You're a very good teacher. He suddenly felt like he'd been tricked again. He didn't want to share anything with her. He hated her. Well, what else do you want to teach me? She asked. Nothing, he said coldly. You're not supposed to talk in school. Well, why not? It's a rule, like no sticking gum in the water fountains. Well, in this room there are no rules, said Carla. In here, everyone thinks for himself. No one tells you what to do. You mean I can stick gum in the water fountain? Well, you could, except I don't have a water fountain. Well, can I break something? He asked. Certainly. He looked around for something to break, and then he caught himself in time. It was another trick. He'd break something and then get in trouble, and nobody would believe him when he said that she said that there were no rules. Oh, I'm not in the mood, he said. All right, but if you are ever in the mood, there are a lot of things that you can break. Things that I like very much and things that other children use. Oh, I will, he assured her. I know karate. And he raised his hand sideways over the table. I can break this table in half with my bare hand. Oh, I would hate to see you hurt your hand. Nothing ever hurts me, he told her. I've broken every table in my house, he declared. The chairs, too. Call my mother if you don't believe me. Oh, I believe you, said Carla. Why shouldn't I? Oh, you should. Well, she did, too. For the rest of the meeting, no matter what he told her, she believed him. When he told her that his parents only fed him dog food, she asked him how it tasted. Delicious, he said. Meaty and sweet. Oh, I've always wanted to try it, said Carla. When he told her that the president had called him on the phone last night, she asked what they talked about. Hats, he answered right away. Hats? Well, what did you say about hats? I asked him why he didn't wear a hat like Abraham Lincoln. Well, what did he say? Bradley thought for a moment. I can't tell you. It's top secret. Near the end of the session, Carla gave him a piece of construction paper and asked him if he wanted to draw a picture. He chose a black crayon from the big box of crayons and stayed with it the whole time. He scribbled wildly all over the paper. Carla leaned over to look at it. That's very nice, she said. It's a picture of nighttime, he told her. Oh, I thought it was a picture of the floor of a barber shop after someone with black curly hair got his hair cut. Oh, yeah, that's what it is, Bradley declared. That's what I meant to say. Oh, it's very good, said Carla. May I have it? Well, what for? Well, I'd like to hang it up here on my wall. He looked at her in amazement. You mean here? Yes. No, it's mine. Well, I was hoping that you would share it with me, said Carla. It cost $1. Oh, it's worth it, said Carla, but I only want it if you're willing to share it. No, he said. Okay, but if you ever change your mind, I'll still want it. Well, you can make me give it to you, he suggested. No, I can't. Sure you can. Teachers make kids do things all the time. Carla shook her head. It was time for him to return to class. I've enjoyed your visit very much, said Carla. Thank you for sharing so much with me. And she held out her hand. He backed away from it as if it were some kind of poisonous snake. Then he turned and hurried out into the hall. When he got to Mrs. Ebble's class, he crumpled his picture into a ball and he dropped it in the wastepaper basket next to her desk. Chapter 10. Bradley sat at his desk in the back of the room. Last seat, last row. He felt safe there. The counselor had scared him. She was even worse than he had imagined. He looked at Jeff, who smiled at him and then returned to his work. Bradley was glad Jeff was his friend. Jeff and me are a lot alike, he thought. We're both smart. We both hate the counselor, and we both like sneaking into the girls' bathroom. Actually, Bradley never had been inside a girls' bathroom. It was something he had always wanted to do, but he had never had the courage to even peek into one. But now that he and Jeff were friends, he hoped Jeff would take him inside one. He was dying to know what they looked like. He imagined they were carpeted in gold with pink wallpaper and red velvet toilet seats. He thought girl toilets would look nothing like boy toilets. They'd probably be more like fountains with colored water. So, how'd you like Carla? Jeff asked him after school. They were walking along the sidewalk next to the school building, carrying their raincoats. It was no longer raining. She's weird, he replied. She likes to eat dog food. Jeff made a face. Did she say that? Bradley nodded. She asked me why the president doesn't wear a hat. Well, how am I supposed to know that? Jeff shrugged and said, I don't know. You don't like her, do you? Bradley asked. I hate her, said Bradley. Me too, said Jeff. I hate her. Bradley smiled his distorted smile. You want to go sneak inside the girls' bathroom? He asked. You mean now? Well, why not? Now's not a good time, said Jeff. Why not? Jeff thought a moment. There won't be any girls in there now, he said. They all go home to use their own bathrooms. Oh, yeah, you're right, Bradley agreed. Good thinking. We'll do it tomorrow during recess. Jeff smiled weakly. They walked around the corner of the building. Hello, Jeff, said Lori Weston. Hi, Jeff, said Melinda Birch. Hi, Jeff, Colleen said so quietly that the F couldn't be heard. They had been waiting for him to come by. Somehow they had found out his name. Hello, hi, Jeff answered, blushing. Lori laughed. Then the three girls hurried away. Stupid girls, said Bradley. Yeah, Jeff muttered. I hate them, said Bradley. Me too, said Jeff. Well, why'd you say hello to them? Well, they said hello to me first, Jeff replied. So? Jeff shrugged. Well, whenever anybody says hello to me, I always say hello back. Why? Well, I don't know. I can't help it. It's like when someone says thank you, don't you automatically say you're welcome? No. Well, I do, said Jeff. He shrugged again. I guess it's like a reflex. Like when you go to the doctor and he taps your knee, you have to kick. You can't help it. It's the same thing. When someone says hello to me, I always have to say hello back. Bradley tried to make sense out of what Jeff said. I know what you can do, he suggested. The next time one of those girls say hello to you, kick her. Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed chapters 9 and 10. Tomorrow we will start chapter 11. As you can see, Bradley is really trying to rub off on Jeff and really trying to make Jeff think the way that he thinks. So we'll see how long this friendship lasts and how long that Bradley can continue being an influence on Jeff. What do you think is going to happen? How do you think this is going to turn out? Hope you have a great day. See you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.